Hello and welcome to Checkpoint, where you can have a rest and find out what's going on. On this sub-show I'll be talking about anything I want to really, including recent news bits and my very brief views on them. Finally, I've reached the checkpoint. So it's been announced that at some point in the very near future, Sony will actually be selling its Square Enix shares. What does it mean? Well, not much actually, and for most people it's not something that was unexpected really. Square Enix isn't the only one going through tough times, but Sony as well. And with that being said, I can only imagine that they didn't see much need to keep putting money in Square Enix, what with their recent releases not being PlayStation exclusive. I'm sure we were all surprised when right after the tears of joy that Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced at E3, it was announced that the game would also be available on the Xbox One.
Yes! 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 Yes!
The same goes for the much anticipated Final Fantasy 15. I'll be honest, I actually forgot the game was going to be on the Xbox One. I only found out last night when I was on PlayAsia and I saw the pre-orders going. Christ, I remember when Final Fantasy 13 was announced as a PS3 exclusive for Japan. The shares will be sold for about $15.3 billion, yen, sorry, 15.3 billion yen, which is just a little under $150 million, or around 89 million pounds for us English folk. Quite a lot of money, and it's all going to a financial firm called SMBC Nikko. Things like this aren't uncommon in the business world, and I imagine that Sony is just cashing in on the shares, since we all know that Square Enix isn't doing so well at the moment. And speaking of Sony, so you know that thing called PlayStation Now, which Sony are rolling out soon to be able to stream PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 and PS3 games? Sony's announced that their new line of Bravia TVs will support this service from the get-go. Can you imagine? You won't even need a console. All you'd need is a stable internet connection and a PS3 controller. I would assume you would need the official one though, and not the knockoff ones that you can get for like half the price. I believe the TV in question is a full 4K Ultra HD TV, which retails for about $8,000, with this top model being about $25K. So yeah, they're incredibly pricey. And in my honest opinion, I don't think they'll be worth it in the long run. So if you're like me and you often come home late at night, be it from work or partying, and the route to your house involves a really dark and dangerous looking street or alleyway, then you might be interested in this thing called KiteString. Here's how it works. You sign up to the site with your full name and phone number. You insert the numbers of your emergency contacts and then tell the service when to check up on you. Say it's going to take you about, I don't know, half an hour to get home. KiteString will then send you a text checking up on you, prompting you to text back. If something's happened to you or you fail to reply, then that's when KiteString will alert your emergency contacts. A nice sounding service. It's not an app that you can download in the Google Play Store or App Store, but you can log into the service via your phone's web browser. Now, I've been mugged in broad daylight twice. Nothing's ever happened to me at night though, and while this is a neat mobile web-based service, I can only imagine if you're sent a checkup text by KiteString and your battery has died. It's going to alert your emergency contacts anyway, and it'll end up being a false alarm. The core notification service runs on their servers and does not depend on your phone being available. I suppose it's better a false alarm than KiteString not notifying if something did happen to you anyway. So Facebook's rolling out this new thing called Nearby Friends. Quite simple. How it works is that Facebook notifies you when certain friends are nearby. How many times have you gone out and come home and then talk to someone you know on Facebook, and then you find out that you two were both in the same place or area and they're like, "Oh man, didn't know you were there too, we could have hung out." This new feature is kind of an answer for that. The new feature is also opt-in, which is funny for Facebook, which means if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. Personally, I believe this feature won't kick off all that well. Not everyone keeps GPS on their phone on, mainly to save battery in their phones. And if you have to turn the feature on and turn GPS on every time you wish to use it, people just won't bother going through all of that, unless they're that determined. I can also imagine this feature baiting people out. Like certain people on your friends list can find out where you are when you don't want them to. but I'm certain Facebook will have options that will allow you to choose who you can see and who can see you, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Personally, if I were to use this and I'm waiting for someone somewhere and I call them and they're like, oh, I'll be there in about 5 minutes, I'm just a few stops away in the bus, and they don't pop up in this nearby friends thing, then I'll know that they haven't even left their damn house yet. So I was shown this just a few days ago at uni, and I could not believe it. My apologies if you've seen or heard of this already, seeing as it just came out under a year ago. And with 23 million views on Facebook, I'm sure most of you have seen it. But whatever. Poo-pourri.
You would not believe the motherlode I just dropped. And that's how I like to keep it, leaving not a trace that I was ever here, let alone that I just birthed a creamy behemoth from my cavernous bowels.
What? Part of what makes this advert so entertaining is the actress in the video, and how articulate she is about taking an ungodly shit.
Of course, flashing removes the graphic evidence. Maybe 2 or 3 flashes if your skid marks are as tenacious as mine.
In short, Poo-pourri is supposed to be a product that prevents an odour from forming when you're taking a less than graceful dump on the bog. You spray it on the water surface of the toilet, and when your feces reach the toilet, it triggers the aroma of Poo-pourri, a refreshing bouquet of essential oils. And just when I was looking at the dates or looking for an April 1st somewhere...
Yes, it is a real product. And yes, it really works.
They've sold like 4 million bottles already and counting. It's a real thing. It's a thing that's real. This is probably the most middle-class advert I've seen in a long time. It's an embarrassing problem for all of us, and the product actually seems pretty cool. Classy. And that's been today's checkpoint. Stay tuned for more video game uploads and game doodles. Currently, I've still got my Tales of Symphonia HD playthrough going, as well as the last few DLC chapters of the Japanese version of Drakengard. I'll also be starting a boss run of Final Fantasy X soon. If you're not subscribed already, you can do so by clicking the button beside me. Thank you and take care.